Do you play Magic the Gathering? You can pre-order a booster box, fat pack, and both Planeswalker decks in one sweet, affordable bundle. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Mad channel, and when I was a kid, MTV was the shit, right? MTV was where you'd go to watch great content like music videos, and I'm not gonna lie, I really liked TRL with Carson Daly. I was a teenager, don't fucking blame me. Also, they had an interesting bit of news coverage there. Kurt Loder being one of the MTV news anchors, and a bunch of other people from back in the day that did, I would want to say they did probably as good of a job as they could. For, you know, being MTV and news coverage in the 80s and 90s. And then MTV News became something bigger. And it just started to suck. But now we're learning that MTV News is shifting towards video and is now targeting a younger demographic. Gee, I really, really, really wonder why that's happening. Saying here, MTV News is being restructured with an eye towards creating more video and short-form content for a younger audience. This is probably going to be something like you find on Facebook with like Now This, or any of those kind of little short, viral, little news bits that circulate around. That, or you might find something similar to Vice, and they're like 5 to 7 minute little documentary pieces. That could be something that they're doing, and that might actually have a greater impact because people do want the content. They want it to look good, they want it to look slick, and they want it in a short amount of time. Now, the move comes 7 months after Chris McCarthy was named president of MTV, and on the heels of a reorganization of the network's linear programming department. The transition will see resources shift from long-form journalism to the development of short-form videos, meaning MTVnews.com or their written stuff is going the way of the fucking dodo. And then that's just kind of how it is. That is the truth of how it is right now. People want videos. They want that short form content. Me personally, I'm not going to lie. For reasons a little different from what you're seeing on the screen right now, I do like reading articles. Sometimes I don't want to wade through the monotony of some of the people performing the story. I'm not saying that I'm better. People tell me all the time I'm boring as shit. But at the same time, I sometimes just like to read the article and then go get someone's take on it later on. Saying here that among the most significant changes, MTV has reached an agreement with the Writers Guild of America to represent MTV News staff members. This is probably something to do with the fact that I believe also Gizmodo writers started doing similar things. And if more writers go to the unions, then we might find ourselves in a situation where writers get paid a fair wage and they get everything that comes along with it, including health coverage and all that stuff. And that's a good thing. As part of that agreement, MTV News is parting ways with fewer than a dozen staffers and several freelancers. Again, the people that are the lowest of the totem pole, they always get cut first. It does make sense in this particular case. The news division is in the process of hiring additional personnel to focus on video and short-form content. This is basically where they're going to hire producers, segment producers, and they're probably going to start bringing in more content creators. Does this mean we're going to be getting an alternative voice to combat Francesca Ramsey's Decoded, or maybe even Lacey Green's Braless? And the combat might not be the wrong word, but provide an alternate opinion, an alternate mindset. The answer is no. We're probably not. They're going to probably create more content like that because they feel that that is where their audience is. But if you look at the numbers on their YouTube channels, it ain't there at all. It is not there. They don't have the numbers in that space. But I don't have any of the information on the demographics of what comes in from the actual MTV website that isn't linked to YouTube and what plays on there, as well as when these episodes air on MTV themselves. We have no fucking idea. But given the fact that they're trying to go to short form content, shows you that the numbers have not been very good in some of those respects. Plans to reorganize the news division have been in the works since February, when the WGA East notified MTV that it would seek a contract on behalf of the MTV News employees. MTV alerted the WGA East prior to beginning negotiations that it had already initiated plans to reorganize the news division. Severance for the departing staff members was negotiated by the WGA East. Okay, so basically, MTV News employees were kind of like, fuck, maybe they know that things are happening. Maybe they know it's going the way of the dodo, and they want to unionize. Granted, like I said, Gizmodo writers did the same thing, and it is something that is currently kind of happening. And so maybe MTV was like, okay, well, let's do a reorg right now. We want to do it anyway. Let's get in before the union happens, so we can then just kind of get rid of who we need to get rid of and kind of start fresh. Maybe. I could be wrong. MTV News had, since late 2015, and the addition of several writers and editors who had previously worked at the website Grantland, pursued a strategy designed to age up its digital audience. The strategy focused on sort of long-form journalism that had drawn Garland a devoted following in praise and media circles, with many articles ranging from 4,000 to 6,000 words long. And there is a place for that. There is always a place for articles that have 4,000 to 6,000 words. There's always a place, but when you're trying to do straightforward news coverage, it should just be the facts and the facts only, right? When you're running that kind of editorial and that kind of long-form journalism, it tends to get a little bit dry and maybe a little bit preachy. As a person who speaks for a living at great length sometimes, I fully understand this. Former editorial chief Dan Fireman, who had been the editorial director at Grantland, departed MTV News in April. Pretty much at that point, yeah, they signified that shit's that's a dead experiment. Since 2015, according to Network Insiders, overall traffic for MTV News digital content has declined. That makes sense. That makes sense. People have a shorter attention span. I'm not going to lie. I have a shorter fucking attention span. But when you're trying to push news, it's kind of like Teen Vogue pushing this kind of shit now. It's not going to increase their viewership for long. And generally, a lot of people that go to Teen Vogue for stuff other than long-form journalism, and they might start looking someplace else. But according to Omniture, the average number of unique views for MTV News editorial content was down 64% for the period of October 16th to June 2017. That is a lot of a big hit. And that might be due to the fact also during the Trump. If they were completely anti-Trump, there were a lot of places that did well, but some places that didn't because it burned out part of their audience. But this was versus a period of October 2014 to June 2017, fiscal 2015. Okay, so prior to Fireman's hire versus the current fiscal year, by the same measure, time spent was down 59%. Traffic for editorial video streams was down 97%. And this again is evidenced by looking at their YouTube channel. They didn't have it. They just didn't have it. They'd be better off partnering with Snapchat and creating short form content for that. And that might actually be what happens next. I have no idea. According to ComScore, engagement time on MTV.com had been on the uptick from an average 3.6 minutes in November to 4 minutes in February. That's good. That's definitely good. That number measures all MTV content, including but not limited to news. So if they had other shows that did well, that would have definitely given it that uptick, but it's not 100% news, which makes sense. Let's see here. MTV is one of 6 flagship brands identified in February by Viacom CEO Bob Bakish as the focus of an overhaul of the company's cable division. MTV has been around for years. 30 years now it's been around. It's a staple. People know it. But they're going through the same kind of identity crisis that a lot of other news stations are going through right now too. They can't compete with the digital market. They can't compete with YouTube. They can't compete with people kind of like myself who do this sort of thing. They can't do it. And so they have to restructure in order to stay alive. And that unfortunately comes with firing and letting go a number of people. And so McCarthy had worked quickly since adding MTV to a portfolio that included VH1 and Logo to revamp the channel's executive team in linear programming and marketing. The rehab effort has included a move away from scripted programming with the cancellation of such low-rated series such as Sweet Vicious, Mary and Jane, and loosely Exactly Nicole. Well, let's be fair here. Sweet Vicious, while it was kind of a critical darling, it was a show about 2 girls on college campus acting as basically a vigilante for suspected rapists. It's a show that not probably the best climate for that right now. and it's good that it's probably gone. The latter set to be revived by Facebook, so that'd be loosely exactly Nicole's going to Facebook, as its first original television series. MTV has pivoted towards sort of unscripted shows that had long been staples for the channel, with series Promposal, reboots of My Super Sweet 16, and Fear Factor. Now give me fucking Fear Factor, I'm down for that. Or, fuck that. Give me Fear. Complete with the fucking Godsmack opening song. That was a great show from the early 2000s, right? You take a bunch of people, put them in a haunted asylum, haunted asterisks, right? Give them fucking these weird kind of rigs, and then have them wander around at night. It was a great show. Bring that shit back. Because now you could do it with GoPros. It'd be a lot cheaper to produce. Do that. I think we all want to see that. But yeah, you can see that again. There's a lot of the unscripted shows making a comeback because they're so cheap to produce, and they can easily be cranked out. And if one sucks, you cancel it, you create another one, and you keep going until one is a hit. And given the fact that that MTV is rebooting My Super Sweet 16 and Fear Factor, it shows you precisely what's going on, which is they are desperate for anything, so they're really trying to just get, as much as they possibly can. Now, it says here that in average, viewers are ages 18 to 34, which is odd because MTV usually caters to the younger demographic, like 14 to like 30 or whatever. It's up 3% in June of the same month last year, so that's good if you happen to like MTV and are in that particular age range. I'm 35, so no, I'm not. The first time the network has experienced a year-over-year gains in its target demo since 2014. Or 2011. So you're telling me that over the course of the past 6 years, it's gone up 3%. Everything else is down in most respects. But their viewers, their average viewer age is or their average viewers in that age bracket are up. Okay. Promposal and My Super Sweet 16 have significantly outperformed MTV original series averages among women 18 to 24, as the network attempts to grow its audience in younger demos. So what you can see from this essentially is that MTV is hemorrhaging viewers. They are in dire straits, and they're really trying to reorganize everything in order to appeal to the 18 to 24 female. I guarantee you we're going to see more shows that are coming at it from that perspective in order to capitalize on that demo. And I get it. MTV has to do what it has to do to survive. But what it should do, and this is what some people say, oh, social justice isn't taking anymore. Like, it's across the board, it's down. Yes, that might have something to do with shows like Braless or Decoded, or Sweet Vicious, or any of the other kind of ultra left-leaning shtick that MTV puts out there. And again, I'm not attacking the creators of these shows. I feel like they might, especially in the case of Decoded, you can see why people didn't like Francesca Ramsey's work. Because it's very condescending, and it's extremely racist against white people, even though it's like, nope, can't be racist against white people. So there's a lot of that going on, and that's a problem. That is a big problem, and it's good that they're going to reorganize it. So I have to wait and see what happens from this. But will MTV ever be able to get itself back to where it was 20 plus years ago? Yes, they absolutely could. If they dropped this stupid fucking shit, went back to just showing the real world, and then also nothing but music videos. And more Beavis and Butthead. That's what I want. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? You think people's dislike of social justice is affecting it, or do you think the audience just isn't there anymore for this type of I guess you could say, establishment? MTV is no longer counterculture. MTV is the establishment in entertainment and in this type of news. And do you think they've done anything right over the years? Or what would you suggest would be the best way to fix MTV? Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.